Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 29th of February, the leap year day, comes to you from London. And I'm going to start by looking at the main markets, and we'll go on to look at energy. Quite a lot of volatility occurring in gas and power, and so we'll take a look at that. But we're going to start by looking at what's going on in the main markets. I'm running here on Refinitiv Icon, but remember you can run Updata on multiple different data sources, including Bloomberg, Trayport, Montel, you name it. We're compatible with dozens of different data feeds. This is sitting on top of Icon, Refinitiv Icon, or now LSEG Icon. So remember that you can run these targets on as many data feeds as you want. And please do share and like these and comment, and I'm happy to cover anything that you wish. And if you're not already following me on LinkedIn, follow me there. I've got 32,000 followers on LinkedIn, so that's where I'm posting more and more these days, although this will go on YouTube as well. So we start by looking at the dollar index. The dollar is really waiting. We had the GDP numbers yesterday. We're waiting for inflation numbers now. We're in this really tight trading range of 103.50, 104.30. We did activate an upside target yesterday, but we do still have this unactivated downside target hanging over us. That will turn red if we move below the 103.40 level, so really quite key. And of course the medium-term daily chart, this is the short-term 60-minute chart, the medium-term daily chart, we're waiting for a move above 107 before we move much higher. So we're really waiting and seeing. Sterling, starting to see a little bit of reaction now coming in on the UK budget, and that's going to be really quite key next week. Again, we've got this potential, if you fall through 120, if the market gets shocked by that, it's a long way away, we're at 126, but if the market gets shocked, then the sterling against the dollar will struggle. And if we look at euro sterling, that's really quite interesting as well, because we are just seeing how that's playing out in terms of the waiting to see if we break lower than that 116.50 level. That takes us to 114.80 on that target. But again, if we break higher above 118, then it's quite a move higher for sterling. And that really is normally quite an interesting chart. We're going sideways. Mostly the currencies are quite aligned, but this move here, sideways move, if we break higher, that's the target based on the point and figure target. So really quite key there and one to watch. Now the big news, of course, has been Bitcoin. We did activate a new upside target to 90,000 in the last few days, so that's really significant. We saw that happen this week. We had targets to 62,000, 66,000. Well, 62 is gone, 66 is next, and then 90. Now we're reaching all-time high territory here, so we may see some resistance around the 66,000 level, but this new target to 90,000 can't be ignored. Bitcoin looking very strong indeed, and on the 60-minute chart, we've got a target to 68,000. That's another 9.6% higher. So there's the targets. If you're trading Bitcoin shorter term, you want to be looking at the 10-minute charts or the 1-minute charts for the thrills and spills of trading Bitcoin. So that's really quite key. Looking at the Nasdaq. Of course, that has been rocketing on performances of NVDA and its peers, waiting for this new upside target to activate, taking us to around 19,500. We do have a little mini downside target to 17.6. That's only 1.2% lower. We're really just struggling to break this 18,000 level at the moment, and that's the key. We break that, and then we move higher to these targets. And of course, the medium-term target is much higher still. And if we look at some of the other markets, look at Japan. That's been making new all-time highs, 40-year highs, quite incredible. And we are seeing that target's been in place since the beginning of February, some 15% higher. That's the one that's in train. If we can make a new high, we activate another new upside target on the short term. We're above the cloud. Of course, you can bet your bottom yen that most Japanese people are using the cloud charts. So that's really quite key. Looking at China, we did have this rapid recovery, not enough to get the lagging line through the cloud yet. We've got quite a mixed picture going on with the targets. So we've having risen, is this setting us up for the next fall? Notice the downside targets were met there. And in India, the Sensex is looking very strong indeed. Another new target about to activate there, so quite key. Looking at the Aussie market, interestingly, we're seeing two new targets, one in mid-February and this one just given the last couple of days. So Aussie looking strong again, just nudging that new high territory, so quite key there. Looking at gold, stuck in the doldrums a little bit, but we are just holding above the 2000 level, which is really quite key. If we can break above this 2041, then that takes us into the high sort of 2080s area. So again, that's quite key. And of course, we have this longer term target that's been activated. Cloud has been tested here, but not on the lagging line. And last of all, and look at 10-year yields before we look at energy. We're seeing here these upside targets in train back to 435, 484 on the yield, taking us back to near that 5%. 446 was activated day before yesterday. And of course, we're just waiting for those inflation numbers now to see how the bond markets react. But remembering that the long-term targets on the bond markets are scary, 5.6 and even 10%. So a lot of people can't get their head around that, but that's what the targets are, the weekly chart. Now let's have a look at the energy mix. So we start by looking at Brent crude, and we see here we're just waiting for this medium-term upside target to activate. We went out as bearish to clients this morning. We do have the 1 minute charts were pointing lower for crude, but we do have a picture that is above the cloud, and it is looking more and more bullish for next week. So quite an interesting one to watch there. US nat gas, we are seeing here similarly upside targets, just waiting for a new one to activate above 190, taking us back above $2. So we are seeing US gas prices recovering there as well. Looking at coal, still bearish below the cloud on the daily chart. 60-minute, we've got a new upside target to 107. That was activated at 95. So it's quite interesting. We're now moving towards that target, not through the cloud on the lagging line yet, but all these downside targets were met. This new upside target looking interesting. And looking at carbon, we'll take a deeper look at carbon later today with our clients, but we can see here downside target to 44.70, not really quite met. We're still below the cloud on the daily. We have this new upside target back to 63 euros, so looking really strong. 59 is the level that we have to break really to feel confident on carbon, but for the moment we're above the cloud. And of course, if you're trading carbon, you want to go to the shorter term charts. This is the 10-minute, so there are upside targets there, and if you're really trading at short term, you're going to have the 1 minute chart, and we're just waiting for new targets to kick in real time there. So quite interesting looking at the carbon charts there. Gas, looking at TTF front month, we see here downside target is still in active. We'd only deactivate that target with a move above 30 euros. So that's really what we would see before we could say that target's been deactivated. Got another upside target here, but quite a big pullback. And again, you want to be looking at the 10-minute charts. New downside targets just kicked in back to 23.89. And if we look at the 1 minute charts, if you're trading gas, you really want to be watching these targets. New upside targets just kicking in at the moment. That's the one that's in train right now, but we did have these targets this morning, so we've got to be aware of those as well. Last of all, we will take a look at power markets. We'll look at German power first of all. So I would look here, that's my data coming in from Montel. I'm running on multiple data services. Here I'm looking at EX data off LSEG icon, and we see here the downside targets. No clear targets there on the 60-minute chart. That 76.90 level is pretty key now. Got a new upside target on the 10-minute, so that's quite key. If you're trading German power, you want to watch that. And on the 1 minute chart, we're waiting for this new target to activate. That will turn from orange to green to 79.50 if we could just move above this 76.20 level. This target was given yesterday at 74.50 to 77.85. We only got as high as 77. So these targets are very much in train. Picture changing quite a lot on the very short-term charts there for German power. And we can look at some of the other markets as well. We'll take a look at French power. Similar picture here, of course. New upside target that was given just below 70 at 69.20 to 75. We got to 75.95. Got to 75. Just shows how the targets are really of value here. And we can also look at some of the other markets. So Italy. We see here the downside targets that were met. New upside target given yesterday, again met. You want to be looking at the very short-term 1 minute charts, the 10-minute chart for Italian power, given a new upside target there as well. So really quite interesting. That's it for today. Until next time, happy charting. Bye for now.